Good afternoon, good people of the snow. This is Ben from the Sawtooth Avalanche Center with your weekend update issued on January 12th, 2024. As a friendly reminder, these aren't meant to replace the forecast. They're just meant to help you understand where you're at when you read the forecast and give you a better sense for what you might find if you head into the mountains this weekend. If you're just here for the cliff notes, this is for you. We got some very dangerous avalanche conditions out there. You can trigger avalanches from long distances away, a process known as remote triggering. We have avalanche problems on many slopes. It's a pretty harsh environment with incredibly cold temperatures, likely to hit -30 in the Stanley Basin overnight tonight. And almost everybody here is ravenous for snow. We're ready to ski, we're ready to ride, and the snowpack is not ready for us. So let's dive into where we're at today. We've got an avalanche warning out today, Friday. It's going to expire tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. and maybe upgrade or maybe continued depending on what the weather does for the rest of the day. The avalanche danger is high at upper and middle elevations and considerable at lower elevations. What are we worried about? Well, we're worried about these big avalanches. Which you can see in this photo here, that's me and my partner kind of on the ridge line there, and we're standing above the crown of a large avalanche that we remotely triggered from more than 100 feet down the ridge line and on a different facing slope. The slope collapsed, it traveled up the ridge line over onto this slope and made an avalanche that would have been plenty large to bury you. So how did we get here? Well, we had a very, very dry month of December, and this is about how much snow we had on the ground at the end of that drought. You can see our northern and western mountains, we had up to 3 feet, and in the southern and eastern mountains, really close to about a foot of snow on the ground. That snow sat out for weeks, lost a lot of its strength, and now we are bearing that snow. As of today, 112, this is how much snow we have in our mountains. So we've essentially doubled the snowpack in the last 7 days, and we've added between 1 and 3.5 inches of snow water equivalent. So that's if you melted the snow, that's how much water you'd have sitting there in your pan. What are we talking about as far as avalanche problems in the forecast? Well, right now we actually have 2 persistent slab problems in our forecast. We're worried about the weak layer that I just described. That's the one that we just buried. On the image on the left, you can see that in about the middle of the snowpack there. And then we've got our weak layer that we buried after a long drought in November, down near the base of the snowpack. The weak layer further up in the snowpack, we're just burying it now. Very easy to trigger avalanches on that, and they're going to be plenty big to bury you. If avalanches break lower in the snowpack on that deeper weak layer, you're going to make even bigger avalanches. They're going to be big, hard to survive, and ugly. All right, here we are, another photo from yesterday, Thursday, in the headwaters drainage up above Smiley Creek there. And what you can see here is the crown of a large avalanche. It's about 400 plus feet wide, and it broke foot to a foot and a half deep. I came across this with my partner yesterday as we were traveling through the mountains. And this happened naturally, probably a day or two previous, with just a little bit of wind and the new snow. Today, Friday, we have an intense storm going on as we speak. There's tons of snow falling, and the winds are just absolutely cranking out there, building a bunch of slabs in terrain, really at all elevations at this point. Another look at some avalanche activity from yesterday in the headwaters range as well. You can see a thinner snowpack here. I got to the top of this slope, pushed on it a bit, was able to get essentially a loose snow avalanche to start. The slab kind of flanked out at a certain point, and it gouged down to the ground, entraining all of the snow except a little icy crustiness on the ground. Going into the weekend, as far as avalanche problems that we're expecting to see, we'll still have these 2, or likely to have these 2 persistent slab problems in the forecast, but we have this new snow, wind, storm slabs, loose dry, cornices, all happening on top of that. So that upper persistent slab problem, that's the weak layer that we buried about a week ago now. These are the very likely to trigger avalanches. They're easy to get to with our weight. And thanks to how much it snowed in this past week, they're going to be plenty big to hurt you, plenty big to bury you. You don't want to be caught in one of these. The lower persistent problem is deeper in the snowpack. It's just going to make bigger avalanches. These are less likely, but avalanches that fail on this are likely to be unsurvivable. What's really important with both of these is that avalanches can be triggered remotely. You can trigger them from a distance away from a steeper slope. That means you're traveling along the bottom of the valley, you're riding along on a road, you can trigger the road cut that fails above you and comes down and buries you. Looking at weather for the weekend, we'll see a mix of some clouds and plenty of sunshine in between. We're going to see some really cold temperatures overnight, particularly in the Stanley Basin. Those forecast to hit 30 below or colder with some wind chill on top of that. We got some clear skies Saturday with another little storm coming in Saturday afternoon. That lasts into Sunday morning, and then skies kind of clear again later in the day Sunday. All right, so what are the most important things to know this weekend? Well, it's pretty certain that we're going to have very dangerous avalanche conditions. Not a lot to say about that. Big avalanches, very big avalanches, easy to trigger avalanches, and natural avalanches. These things are all going to be happening throughout the weekend. We can trigger avalanches from long distances away from the slopes where they actually fail. This is particularly scary when we're triggering avalanches that are starting way up above us and running down to where we are. This is possible from roads at valley bottom, just when you're traveling at the valley bottom, or way down lower in avalanche paths well below where the starting zones are. The motorized accessibility has increased significantly in the last really 48 to 72 hours. We were restricted to essentially road-only riding up until earlier this week, and now there's a lot of terrain that we get into with our sleds. Even though we weren't able to get there before, the snowpack was there. A very weak snowpack was developing there, and so if we're headed to those spots, that's exactly what we're going to find there. Avalanche size and sensitivity. The avalanches are going to come in essentially two flavors: big and really big, and they're all going to be easy to trigger. We've got problems on many slopes now. Essentially everything that had snow on it before this storm is suspect. Prior to this, we had a lot of slopes where we could go to where the danger was significantly lower, but now there really aren't a lot of options. If you're going out and you're finding slopes that have old snow underneath the new snow, and it's a piece of avalanche terrain, there's a good chance that you can make a large avalanche there. We got a harsh wintertime environment right now. It's very windy and cold today. We're going to see temperatures absolutely plummet overnight. We're likely to see temps in the negative 30s potentially in the Stanley Basin. The wind's going to calm down quite a bit, but still, it's when things go wrong in a cold environment like that, it's really just hard to survive for long if something goes wrong. And finally, we are ravenous for this new snow. If you're anything like me, and I know that many of you are, you've been dreaming about riding and skiing powder for weeks, if not months. The powder's here, but unfortunately, the avalanche danger is high right now. So if we're heading out into the mountains, if we're going to play on steep terrain, know that the chances of triggering avalanches is high. That's what we've got heading into the weekend. Dial back your ambitions. I know it's not the thing that you want to hear, but that's just how the world is out there. So hope you guys have a great, safe weekend. Enjoy the fresh snow. Let us know what you're seeing, and we'll be in touch.